Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Hari Om to everybody. Yes, what is to be shared? What is to be shared?
How to remain unaffected by anything that happens outside?
How to remain unaffected by anything that happens?
Positively unaffected. Positively indifferent.
You will remember that when Sadhyoja Shankarashram Swamiji was elaborating on the point of Udasin, what he said was that unless and until we raise ourselves from the present level, we will not be able to accept it. From our level, we have got some rights and wrongs. We have set some norms in our minds. And if it is not tallying with whatever is happening, we are sorry, or we feel sorry, or we are uncomfortable. We will not be able to accept it as such. But when we raise ourselves to a little higher level, means what? It is all ordained by that power. I don't know the reason, but I have been subjected to go through this. Initially there will be a jerk. I may not be able to accept it. But because of my age-old habituations, but a stage comes when I will be able to pull myself up in the shortest possible time and then think, oh, there could be some reason. It must be for my ultimate good. I am not aware of it. For example, many years ago, about 30, 40 years ago, we met with an accident and was completely immobile. In the sense, became immobile. We cannot move about by ourselves. This leg and this hand got fractured. We were in plaster. This was fully under, what do you call that? Plaster. And this was also on plaster. For more than a month. At that time, somebody gave one book. It was a big book. In the normal course, because of our preoccupation with so many things, we cannot take to reading. But ultimately when we were forced to be under bed rest for more than 3-4 weeks, only this hand was free. At that time that book came, and that book contained nothing but values, touching values. Then we started thinking, in order that it is not merely reading. Normally we read and say it is good or it is bad, okay, but on those are not like that. We tried to go deep within. In one go we cannot read. So then we took it that God gave us that break only to ponder upon the various facets of His life. The mind is fully occupied with that, so that grumbling and complaining will not come. Otherwise, I have been active and I am now depending upon so many things, so many people. All those negative downpulling tendencies, thoughts will come. But instead of that, the mind was fully occupied with the contents, with the theme contained in that book. And every time whenever we are free, in the sense, we have our daily routine will be there, somebody will be there to assist us, or after our food, we take that book again and go through. Similarly, now when Papa says that whatever happens is happening only by His will, and whatever that happens is for our ultimate goal, which we may not be able to understand now, placing our full faith in the words of our Master, suppose we start viewing everything, probably by practice we may be able to accept this reality. Udasin. Only by bringing this dimension we will be able to accept it. From the individual level, suppose we start reacting to events and individuals, it will be difficult. Because our rights and wrongs will prevent us from accepting it. The intellect is so strong, mind is so strong, it will not easily accept. But when we start bringing this, even behind the mind and intellect, it is that power, life force that is working. Then probably we may be able to go little nearer to the truth, and we may be able to rise a little higher than our present level of thinking and slowly bring in the God dimension. And ultimately we have been promised by all masters that we will get stabilized in it. It's a wonderful word, udasin. Anapeksha shuji dakshaha udasino gatavyata sarvaramba parityagi omad bhakta samepriya. In the 12th chapter, when the Bhagavan defines who is my real devotee, who is my dearest devotee, not real, sorry. Amma, you can sit there. Who is my dearest devotee? There, of the 7 or 8 slokas, this particular sloka highlights who is anapeksha, a person who is not dependent upon anybody. That means his needs will be very few, and he will be we will not trouble others. Shuchihi, it will be clean, whatever he does. Daksha, excellence, whatever he does, it will be a whole-souled one. Udasino, where he is in a position to raise himself to a little higher level than the present level. Katavyata, who is not affected by anything. Sarvaramba parityagi, who will not initiate anything for his own benefit. Yomad bhakta samepriya, such a devotee is the dearest devotee of mine. So all these things are nice, but when it comes to our practical life, we try to see now. We would have failed, it doesn't matter. But this periodical evaluation will help us to make it a reality in our life. Oh, I shouldn't have done like that. I shouldn't have talked like that. I shouldn't have thought like that. That will come to us, And God will arrange everything for us, not that we have to do it. He will make us to think on those lines. He will make us to think, He will provide us the necessary one at the appropriate time. When the mind is receptive, when the mind can absorb, assimilate, before that He will not. Even if He gives, we may not be able to understand. But it's a very important word. How do I accept situations? Sri Anandamayi Ma used to say, when you want to accept the truth, when you want to realize the truth, you should be able to accept in whatever condition it is, without making any choice. Because choice means our mind intellect decides, Without making any choice. Morning we said, when we bite a bitter gourd, the taste should be bitter. When we bite a sugar cane, it will be sweet. If we know that is the nature of the bitter gourd to become bitter, we will not complain, So if you want to realize the truth, you should be able to accept everything as it is. These are mass words, as it is, without choosing one thing for the another. God willed that I should taste this. That's why it was given to me. So I will not complain why the bitter gourd is bitter. Because we know that is the nature, that is its characteristic. So whenever any experience comes, before we rush up to label it as good or bad, acceptable, we make a pause and then try to understand this. Why did you make me to go through this? There must be some reason, but I don't know the reason. Because I don't know the reason, I am upset. I feel not comfortable. Please make me aware of the reason. Otherwise, you plug off that reasoning tendency in me. Something like that, we will start thinking. If you are a true aspirant, God will put us to so many tests. We have seen in the life of Papa, for those who are attending now, from 24th of December to 31st, we were having the centenary of beloved Papa's sannyas. That was on the 27th December 1922. Vittal Rao, who was then known as, Papa was known as Vittal Rao, who left everything, who is not the correct word, who was prompted to leave everything and lay his life entirely at his feet, God's feet. And when he came back, he wrote his first book called In Quest of God. So throughout this 1 year, we were prompted to take up an in-depth study of this In Quest of God. Initially, when we were reading, we were thinking that is a narrative of Papa's spiritual journey. But when he gave us the prompting to go in detail, try to read in between the lines, then it was revealed that it is not a book of his yatra, of his itinerant life. It is a manual for all of us. Because every chapter, this particular question, how to accept everything cheerfully, this has been brought about not through theories, but through small anecdotes. For example, one morning he was asked, he got the prompting, God gave him the prompting to go from one place to another place called Pondicherry to have the darshan of Sri Aurobindo. 32 kilometers with no chappal, with no food. Just imagine. In the hot sun you are walking. And when he reaches there, he was told that Sri Aurobindo had gone on retirement for 1 year, nobody can see him. You and I will have grumblings and complaints, Body will be aching. Mentally you are tired. Physically you are tired. But not a word. God gave the prompting to go. God saw to it that it is not fulfilled. Both he was able to accept it. He did not say, you prompted me to go, that's why I came and now you are not fulfilling. No. To teach us that fulfillment or non-fulfillment, that is also the prerogative of the Almighty. That is called total surrender. He makes us to think about it deeply. When I pray, something is heard. When I do some vradas, something I get it. No. That is okay. But when I do all these things, still I don't get it. I should have the state of mind where I accept everything cheerfully. So like that, 37 chapters, out of that 35 chapters, we will find through small anecdotes, he was bringing out some salient, profound points for us to apply in our life. Each chapter, outwardly it may look an innocent incident, but when we go deeper into it, it contains the quintessence of the entire spiritual life. How to accept. In one station, when he was driven out by the railway police, we are talking about 1923, Finally, he was able to find a place where they will not ask us to, the police will not ask him to go out. There he saw a tree and he wanted to lie down there because he had no bed sheet or anything. As he was lying down, suddenly he could feel the smell of urine. In our language, that was the place used by people to pass urine. No? But even that incident, Papa accepted it cheerfully. Because God, to him, God wanted him to understand the perishable nature of the body and what all it contains. We used to go to the toilet, okay, washrooms, but we never hardly recognize that we are carrying all these things in our body. Only when it comes out, we feel, aversion towards it. We are not comfortable at all. But here, Papa takes it as a test meted out to him to know the transient nature of the body. This body, which I hope I present myself, it contains also urine, stools, phlegm, sweat, everything is there, which fact I am not aware. So through that, he is also making us to think about all these things. That the body as body, when we say it's beautiful or it is presentable or something like that, okay, behind the skin all these things are there. This reality we hardly recognize. So like that, through every chapter he is bringing out. And ultimately he accepts it because it is God ordained. He was able to accept the reality that it is God ordained, which is the toughest. It is a PhD, no doubt, but it is the reality. So when we go, we try to go deeper and deeper and then try to stitch it with our own life. We find the areas to be improved. Where are the areas which are to be improved? Oh, I shouldn't have done like that. I shouldn't have grumbled or complained or found fault with. Later on, at least we realize. And when we keep on building up this, probably a day will come when we will not be able to see the negative part of it. It is a very powerful lesson Papa gives from that. Not just as a book. And when the whole team took it up, we were able to unearth 198 points. 198 points. Not that we have to learn all these 198 points. We have brought it out in the form of a small pamphlet. So any page, there need not be any chronological order because all these things are valid for our daily life. One value, suppose we go through it and tally it with our own life. That is different. Normally when we read, when we hear, it is somebody's. We have not still made it our own. So if we have to make it our own, we have to tally it through our own experience. We have to view it with our own experience. Where did I go wrong? I feel I get stressed. Why did I feel? You can sit here. No? Why did I feel that I am stressed? These questions we will ask for ourselves. And that is named as stress to serenity, because the first chapter, first few words portray the state of mind of a person who is in deep stress. And the last line of the 37th chapter, last chapter, says how he leads a serene life. So immediately, he reminds us, hey, look here, stress and serenity. From stress to serenity, if it has to become a reality, we should know that we should be able to bring in that God dimension behind everything. We may not be able to accept it fully or bring it into our reality fully, but to the extent possible, we will try. Wherever it is possible, we will try. And that will give us the boost to slowly extend. And we find from the biographical sketches of masters that they were able to get stabilized in it. So we will also get civilization later, provided we start looking at it with a different angle, not from the individual standpoint. We will give you that copy when you come to the room. It was a wonderful journey. Even now it is not over, it is only a comma. If we keep on again reading it, we will find new hidden themes there.
And in the vision of God, there are still 2 volumes to go in the vision of God.
In the vision of God.
In the vision of God. Yeah, you are right. But too big. And there, the difference between In Quest of God and the In the Vision of God is, in the Vision of God, Papa himself has given out the theme as he looked at it. For example, when he was passing through Shirali Chitrapur Mutt, he talks about the limitation of institutions. Elaborately discusses. When you join an institution, spiritual institution, okay, your growth gets stunted. He says a fence is necessary in the initial stages, but when the real growth of the plant, when it outgrows the fence. So similarly, we should be able to outgrow the limitations of the institutions. So like that, he gives some clues before each and every. But still, we may be able to unearth. Now that you have suggested, we will try. But it's a big book. No, we cannot cover it like this. And we feel that suppose we dig again deeper into In Quest of God, it will help us in our journey towards Him, journey towards becoming aware of His presence.
Swamiji, I didn't catch the name of the book that came to you when you were all in Glasgow. Which book was that?
What was the book that came into your hand when you are in Glasgow?
Accident. When you met
Cain and Abel. It was
Cain
not
and Abel.
Cain and Abel.
Cain and Abel.
Cain and Abel.
Briefly talking about that, a person from Poland, he was a war victim, Second World War. Somehow he was able to reach United States and then started doing all types of work. Finally, he could become a waiter in a hotel. Because of his efficiency, integrity, and total involvement, belongingness, the boss was pleased and gave him promotion after promotion. And one fine morning, when he found that he can handle the big hotel, he handed over the management. So he wanted finance to run. So he goes to a banker. The banker went through all the profiles, but as there was no collateral security or something like that, he couldn't help from the bank. So this man lost his temper and shouted at him, "One day I will sit in your seat and throw you out." So between them the war started, okay? All sorts of character assassination, this and that. After a week or 10 days, this Poland man, he gets a telephone call from his legal advisor that somebody is there to finance, provided you now come with your terms. That means how much you need, in what period, all those things, and terms of repayment, everything. So finally, he said, yes, ready. So he was given the assistance. And hotel after hotel, he started expanding his empire. And then, in the meantime, his daughter and this banker's son developed affinity with each other. But they knew that the father is a parents were fighting. So they approached their parents and said, we would like to become life partners, but you are fighting. Then immediately both of them said, that is between us. You don't mix it up with your life. If you find comfortable, both of you, you can go ahead. So even for their marriage, this banker's father could not attend because he was attacking him. In the meantime, he took shares and he saw to it that he was removed from the board. He was no longer the banker then. And finally, one fine morning, the banker dies. After 3-4 days, the legal advisor telephones to him and says, he was your benefactor.
Oh, very nice.
So even when he was attacked severely by this hotel man, this legal advisor, I can just inform him, that's all. You will get back everything. Your bank you will get back. He will come and surrender, because he was always asking me, who is my benefactor? I am the beneficiary and I have come only because of him. But he said no. So unconditional help, not mixing up with this. He never expected anything from this. That is on a different level. This is on a different level. Let the ego fight. But what is beyond the ego, that should not fight. In fact, that book gave us a lot of thinking. And we were working with a person who was a model. We were working with him for 20 years. Where we could see this is practically possible. Even if whatever he does like ashram, nobody will know. Only the benefactor and the beneficiary will know. Because we were having a trust there. All the activities that are going on now here, we were having it in a different scale. But we will identify the person, go there, give there, bus. There won't be any publicity, nobody will know about it, and he will not publicize, not because he wants to keep it secret. He says, what have we brought? What has been given to us, we are passing it on, that's all. And there are many, many cases where, we will be in tears. How many families have been rehabilitated? How many have been given education? How many have been treated? Something, we can never, if we start talking about it, we need hours and hours together. Just for the sake of newcomers, one incident. Somebody comes in the morning with some petition, some demand. So he looked emaciated. I was just reaching the office, got down from my two-wheeler, then saw him. Immediately I saw the Jain also. I told him he is in a very bad shape, don't tell him anything, because he is very rude when he says something. I think better we will give him 200-300 rupees. This was in 78, 79, 80. Immediately he said, when you say he is seriously sick, what is the use of giving 200-300 rupees? Take him to the doctor. There was a estate vehicle was not there, so we asked him to sit on the same two-wheeler and took him to the nearest hospital where we have account. With our so many hospitals we have got account. We just admit and monthly we pay. So when we took him there, the doctor said, please wait. So he was taken to the room. By that time, he was almost fainted. And he came out after 15 minutes. He told me, you have brought him at the right time. He was having 500 or 600 blood sugar. He was likely to slip into diabetic coma. So you brought him at the... When we went back, the Jain only asked, then send some money to his house. He has come for some help, They may be expecting it. So somebody was sent to his house with 200-300 rupees to buy. Every day before we go to office, we just make a stopover, see how he is. First 2 days he was not conscious at all. Third day he was conscious. The moment he saw, he got up from the bed, caught hold of my feet and said, you are God. I said, I am not God. God is sitting there. I was to give you 200-300 rupees and send you away. It was he who told me you take him. And then he was treated and then he became all right, perfectly all right. But not a word about it to anybody by his day. When we tell him, this was what he said, he's all right, no, that's all. So unconditional help, We had the great privilege of working with him for more than 20 years, where we saw all these things in reality. Whether it is possible or not. Yeah. God gives us an opportunity. Because field is not created by us. When we say we are involved in charitable activities, we should know basically that the field for our charitable activities is not created by us. God creates a field for us. God gives the wherewithal for us. God gives the prompting for us. All that we have been given the privilege to become the conduit pipe, that's all. Just pass it on. This was clearly understood by him, so he was not arrogating himself. There are many such incidents whereby we understand, this is extending of me to we, which is the primary lesson for spiritual journey. Identifying somebody's problem as our problem. Identifying somebody's happiness as our happiness. They may not say tall philosophies and everything, but in life, every day there will be something for us to learn. Many incidents. It comes back to us again and again and again. Silent. Like what Mataji was doing, silent, nobody will know. And the moment he does something, he will forget about it. We have to say it was he who came 2 years back and we gave him a tailoring machine, because of which now he has expanded. Oh, that's all. There will be nothing more, nothing less. So why we came to the topic means to always think that we may not say that it is God who is doing it, but in reality we are doing it. No, God is not an entity. God can express through so many things, through compassion, through love, through identifying one's problem as our problem. He need not necessarily be in a particular form or a particular act. He can be, if that clarity comes to us, then there is no problem. We are not limiting him to anything. Anything positive, anything good. Goodness is God. Papa used to say, goodness is godliness. So wherever we see good and great, we immediately see him conspicuously. The other one is also there. The opposite of is also he is there. But that we may not remember immediately. Later on we will start remembering. Just like we said about the bitter gourd and the sugar cane. Initially, wherever we find sweet, we will say, Papa himself will say, name is sweet. Because that is the language which we can understand. The moment we say sweet, everybody is happy. Bitter means nobody is happy. So that is, though bitterness and sweetness, everything comes from God only, initially we all understand it through first sweetness. So the inquest of God, the end of study revealed so many such things. That is why at no time he had any complaints, no grumblings. Absolutely free from grumblings and complaints. Because when everything is done by God, ordained by God, planned by God, designed by God, there can't be anything wrong. That stage we should reach, we should be clear now. That stage, I am nowhere near it. Please help me to reach that stage. You have made me aware of the stage I should reach. Please help me. And because it is conveyed to us through anecdotes, we will remember everything. If it is dry philosophy, we may not remember. It's a wonderful technique he used. That was the first book. Later on he has written many articles on many subjects. But the first book was In Quest of God. Second book was At the Feet of God. That was, a little more higher, so that we have a dialogue with him, with the indwelling reality. And the third one is, when he goes out, he sees as God. And fourth one is World is God. These are the 4 books directly written by. In Quest of God, At the Feet of God, In the Vision of God, World is God. Four stages. Everywhere this message is there, accepting everything. Accepting everything as ordained by him. So whatever is happening only by his will, and whatever is happening only for our ultimate good. So now when he gives us this wonderful opportunity to think about all these things, we simultaneously pray to him, while chanting also. It is for that purpose he gave us this chanting, to remember God. Chanting is for remembering him. Every time we can put up our problem. In spite of this, why? I have not been able to accept. I label it as negative, adverse, down pulling. I never accept that, okay, it is all for my own refinement.
That's true. The first thing that we ask when something happens is, there should be an inquiry. Why did it happen?
Oh, naturally.
Somebody why did it happen?
Yeah. He has given us an intellect, so the intellect will not keep quiet. Okay, let it pursue. But ultimately it should get the answer. And when we don't get the answer, immediately we think, oh, zero expectation. If zero expectation is there, I will be able to lead. I am prompted to do, but doing, that's all. We will be able to understand better Bhagavad Gita also. Where he says your right is only to do, not to the fruit of action. We were not able to understand. Because normally in our language, we do everything with an expectation. So it is, we cannot digest those words. But viewing it from the experience of Papa and thinking more and more deeply into it, we know that the result is not in our hands. We feel because I do this, it should be like this. But it need not necessarily be. He taught us through so many experiences, but still we refuse to learn. One day we were to come from Bombay to Ashram. Confirmed ticket. Seat number is given. When we went to the airport, they say it is full. They apologize. It is full. We don't have any additional seat. So tomorrow or day after tomorrow, wherever you want, you will be given a ticket. So instead of grumbling, okay, next day we said you give us a ticket to Bangalore. And they gave us money also, profusely apologies. So it happens, it's a test for us. It happens. Technically, legally, everything is perfectly all right. But still, some unknown factor is there to deny you something. That is called a test, When we, in our school days, in our school days, we go to the school, we go to the classes, there is a text, there is a syllabus, curriculum, we go through that. The teacher also comes and takes. We try to absorb or assimilate whatever has been taught. And finally, to know that whether we have the assimilation has taken place, they ask us to sit for an exam, where neither the teacher nor the text will come. It will not help us. Nor do we have any idea about the question paper, questions. So the test is given to us to evaluate whether we have sufficiently assimilated or absorbed the themes that are there in the text, which were taken by the teachers. Similarly, God is keeping everything open through Shastras, through the lives of Mahatmas, whether are we learning it or not, through our own experience. Still, when we are put to that experience, we forget. It's a test, it's a test, it's a test. So Papa keeps on repeating that word, test. Test comes unawares, he says. No clue at all. As we just told, 32 kilometers he makes him to walk. And there also another drama. The police official threatens them to immediately go back. After walking these 32 kilometers, at least they should have some rest. But the police inspector said no. They were given hardly 2 hours. And they had to leave. And then came out of that Pondicherry area where they rested. So test again, test. All zeros to this acceptance of every situation. It is extremely difficult, but it is possible. So our struggle is to somehow make it possible. Even if we fail, we try to bring in this dimension and then see the finger of God there.
It's amazing that Papa could remember all these incidents because he wrote it after his...
Yeah, after he came back.
Did he...
As if, as if he is giving a running commentary.
Yeah.
Specific. Just imagine, on 27th December 1922, he left Mangalore and came back by the end of 23. And we don't know, nobody is there to tell us, but somewhere somebody was giving us some information that he was writing it on slips of paper. And then somebody was prompted to see it and bring it out. And then they said, this has to go for print. On those days, printing is a costly affair. But again, God prompted somebody to come forward. In 1925, the first edition came. And graphic, specific details. As if we are traveling with him. Even today, even after 100 years, when we read that, it's fresh. Because the acceptance of all situation, that is the central theme. With no grumbling, no complaints, no finding fault with others.
No judgments. No judgments.
Non-judgmental, non-teaching, non-preaching. He was not seeking anything from outside. He was relying only on him who is within. That is how he could accept it. In Tirupati, he had to walk 700 steps. It was extreme winter, shivering. When he reached the top, it must have been about 10 o'clock in the night. People were sitting with fire is lit. And then the in charge comes and says, all go out. You have to close the door. Nobody was allowed to stay in. So they had nothing else. Even then, the person who went with him, started grumbling and complaining because biting cold. But even then Papa said, no, God has been extremely kind to do Ram Bhajan. He was only seeing the positive side, uninterruptedly. Each incident, we keep on thinking, whether it is possible. Suppose I am there, will it be possible? No. That means what? My acceptance has not become total. Superficially I may be telling. Or wherever I am comfortable, I will say, yes, Papa has helped me. Wherever I am not comfortable, I will not accept it. his vows. When he took sannyas, of the 3 vows, the last one is he will purely live on the alms procured through bhiksha. Immediately after that, he goes and finds somebody is doing bhajan. He joined them. After 3-4 hours of bhajan, that people who were doing the bhajan saw in their plate only tiny little small coins, which was hardly sufficient for their food. So they complained, is our bhajan only worth this much? Immediately Papa says, no, your devotion is immeasurable. God has sent this servant to give you. He put them 1 rupee. 1 rupee means, today's 1,000 rupees or 10,000 rupees. So the 1 rupee in 1923, it has got 192 paise. They got only 2 or 3 paise in their plate. Okay. After that, he saw his plate. There was one tiny little copper coin, 2 paise or something. He said the heart was leaping with joy. And with that, he was having money. He did not touch it because he has taken a vow, Hereafter, he will be purely living on the alms procured. And with that, he bought a banana and satisfied himself. We have to think a lot, when we make resolves. Do we have that, firmness to hold on to what we have taken the resolve? 9 rupees was still in his pocket. That means 1,800 pies are there in his pocket. But he was satisfied with the 2 pies. Next station, he hands over the whole 9 rupees to his fellow traveler and says, distribute it to everybody, so that he becomes king. Again, so possessiveness, You can possess things but be free from possessiveness. So many such things, Because when we know that we got this human birth, not because we planned it. The present me and mine in us did not plan. This human birth was given to us by him. I was not consulted when I was in the shape of a seed in my mother's womb. So I was given this human birth. And he provided these 200 odd organs when I was in the mother's womb for 9.5 months. 200 and odd organs, well coordinated. They don't trespass each other, The eyes, the ears, the nose, the tongue, the heart, everything, system is there. And when I came out, I did not bring anything. Whatever is needed is also provided for me. If this goes to my head, and if I get convinced about it, what is there for me to plan? He gave me a human birth. He has provided everything. He has been providing everything. And what is there for me to grumble or complain? So acceptance will, Papa says, only by humbling ourselves and knowing our source, we will be able to accept everything. Every creature comfort is a gift given by him through his chosen instrument. When there is no mic, amplifier, he made somebody to think, That is why today we are using it. When there is no chair, when there is no building, when there is no electricity, he made somebody to think about it. Whatever we enjoy today, it's a gift of him through his chosen instruments. What is there for me to complain? This realization, In one of his beautiful quotations, he says, go to the source of your and the world. So when I see this, I must be able to remember that, So again, we come back to the acceptance. Spirituality is nothing but, we can say, accepting everything as ordained by him. That is the culmination of spiritual journey, where we find absolutely comfortable with whatever He provides, whatever He makes us to go through. It's a wonderful, unique book. Every time when we think about it, it keeps on generating so many themes that are inherent in it. That is why we can name it as a manual. Every chapter we get some clues, put it in our baggage. Whenever we need it, we have to take it. Accepting every situation as ordained by Him. That is why He names God as the great provider. In one of his quotations, he will say, He is the great provider, and he who trusts Him is never lost. Trust Him, not faith. Total trust in Him, because He is the great provider. Right from my life force, right from my, awareness, right from the intelligence, right from the human body, everything is given by Him. This truth we have to keep on hammering. For that purpose, He made us to chant. For 30, we will have Ramnam for Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om. 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 Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Hari Om to everybody.